Welcome to the Crimeycade podcast. I am the Mad Conservative Crime Fire, former Gamer of the Year, Stephen Lucas. I'm going to make sure that my audio is coming through because there's always a chance that something goes wrong. Test 1, 2, 3. There we go. It's perfectly fine. That's what I want to hear. Anyway, here we go. Last week on the Crimeycade, we had two guests last week, but the very last guest, and this was for episode number 100, which I didn't intend to fall on a Sunday, but it just turned out that way. We had Erica Salatis, also known as DJ Damon, who hosts Crimeycade Radio Network out in Sweden. So we had to do, because he's out of Sweden, we did a afternoon podcast in America while it was mid-evening over in Europe. See, the Sweden time zone is Central European time. We're in Central Daylight Time. So thank you to Eric for coming in on a Sunday evening for him, and learned all about PC gaming, chip tunes, and how popular Amiga was back in the day. And gamers are wanted. You work in gaming, you're a attorney competitor, create content, have notoriety, gaming fanatic. Let's talk. Message me on Facebook.com/Crimeycade. Or you can whisper to me here on Twitch. And of course, be sure to follow on Facebook on Crimeycade or twitch.tv/rapsheet. And the past episodes will appear on YouTube, tie.cc/PWCI. I gotta upload more fairly soon. Topic for now. Got a bit of a topic to address here. So, David Manning, as you see here, was a film critic who wrote reviews for a Connecticut newspaper called the Ridgefield Press. He was quoted in advertisements for movies released by Columbia Pictures, calling Hollow Man one hell of a scary ride, and The Animal another winner. Majority of movie critics did not share the same sentiments, giving these films negative reviews. So when a Newsweek reporter started seeking out Manning to find out why he had such a different view of these flicks compared to everyone else, it turns out that the owners of Ridgefield Press did not know who he was. He did not write the reviews himself, and the person was a friend of a marketing executive at Sony who gave permission for his name to be used. Sony was also outed for using their own employees in commercials, giving praise to the flick they just watched coming out of the theater. The reaction was swift, as Sony was slapped with a class action lawsuit and ordered to pay a total of $1.5 million to dissatisfied moviegoers who saw the films as a result of Manning's reviews. I bring this up 25 years after this all went down, as we have a similar situation brewing in the video game industry. Certain titles been given glowing 5-star and 10 out of 10 reviews this week. It's been declared the game of the year over and over by reviewers at IGN, Game Informer, Video Games Chronicle, GameSpot, and so on. However, when the general public got their hands on it, many questions were raised about what the hype was all about and why were they having so little interaction apart from walking around. Videos went viral as a thrilling chase scene unfolded where kids were running from the police in a shopping cart, but the player wasn't controlling the card at all. It was merely a long cutscene. When you actually touch a controller, it was when you were interacting with tongues. So for the $20, were you actually playing a game or watching a movie? And how many people were actively playing the game on Steam? A couple thousand at most. We've seen from time after time on Rotten Tomatoes how huge the divide has been between critics and moviegoers, where it's been rare audiences have been in agreement with reviewers. Mixtape has become the most blatant example of critics grossly overrating a game when players are questioning heavily what they're actually getting. Mixtape was produced by Annapurna Interactive, best known for Stray, Telling Lies, Sayonara Wild Hearts, and Outer Wilds. Accusations are flying that the company, owned by Megan Ellison, the daughter of Oracle Corporation CEO Larry Ellison, has engaged in a massive astroturfing campaign to secure another Golden Joystick Award for Indie Game of the Year. Though, how indie of a game is it when you spend tens of millions of dollars to license music from Devo, Smashing Pumpkins, Iggy Pop, Joy Division, and more? And how indie of a game is it when you have the full family fortune at your disposal from a database company? We gamers aren't stupid. We can see through the hype, and we know when you're trying to hoodwink us. I wouldn't be surprised if Oracle gets slapped with a class action lawsuit by players feeling deceived over what they were getting, influenced by dishonest game critics who are paid to shill or seem to be playing games for validation of their life choices instead of entertainment. Though the potential damage awards are mere peanuts to an IT industry leader. My advice, watch the whole thing on YouTube. You'll get the entire experience and save yourself the $20 to cover something more worth your money, like Mouse PI for hire. Why did they release this as a game instead of a movie? Who knows? Though there is a better movie with the same title on Netflix, directed by Valerie Weiss from 2021. I recommend seeing it. Most likely, Mixtape the game will get shelved and forgotten about in a month or two. The ghost of David Manning still looms large. My guests tonight, two men who are the curators of a Chicago gaming museum, and let's take a look at the trailer.
A very out of date trailer.
Yeah, yes. Seeing
What?
those old photos of the museum.
Yeah.
That was a complete trailer that was 30 seconds, so you mean had to use it. That
Yeah,
was the,
no,
that was the only trailer there that was 30 seconds. So I don't
yes,
know.
we're overdue for a new one without the masks that was released at the height of COVID, if I recall.
Yeah, the era of COVID. Don't get me started because I'll rant for that for hours.
But I confess regarding your other rant with David Manning, I did not know who that was. I had to Google him, but there has been seemingly universal praise for this mixtape, which I've not played. And don't get me wrong, I think the game looks amazing, and I've played a game for aesthetics alone. But the universal praise was a little suspicious. So I need to try it for myself. Yeah.
Though on my end, I've seen critical dissent on it from actual critics, not just the general public as well. I don't think it's as nearly as universal as what you said.
Yeah, I just kind of thought, you know, how can it? They're pushing this as gamer or game of the year, and it's like, and then when somebody actually plays it, it's like, where's the game? It's like, which is why I did this. Reflected on David Manning, which was a scandal 25 years ago involving, Sony of all people, which is having their problems of late with gaming. And I kind of asked the question, will Sony exit the gaming industry in the next 5 years because of all the losses that piled up
No,
last
they're
few
doing
years?
better than Microsoft. I mean, there's that.
Hmm.
Sony is
Microsoft
more
could exit
reliant on
too,
their game
know.
business
Yeah.
than they ever have been. So I don't think so.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, let's get started. Give us a 411 on your gaming history. I mean,
Or a 101, as we might say.
yes. Ethan, you
Well,
can go first.
I feel like
Oh,
a good place to start was the fact that we had the pleasure of making your acquaintance at Midwest Gaming Classic,
yep.
where Ethan and I co-curated an exhibition that we thought, especially the Milwaukee and Wisconsin folks in attendance, might appreciate. A little lesser known chapter in coin op history, based in Milwaukee, and that is the story of Dave Nutting and Nutting Industries and Dave Nutting and Associates and Milwaukee Coin, among other companies that Dave started and ended for various reasons. And that was our first time there. Ethan, I don't know what you thought, but I felt like it was a really great first step, and I was glad to be invited, and I think people learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we put up a nice exhibition, lots of things on the walls and playable games, even if not as many as we hoped, because arcade games are finicky devices. This is something you will learn. But one thing at Chicago Gamespace is that we do try to keep original hardware running, and that has been very much a boon to our ability to entice people in when we're open.
And I currently still have the streak going. I've run up, gosh, 21.
Ooh,
Streak of 21 at Midwest Gaming Classic, going all the way back to 2004. And I thought I still had my doggone pick in this slideshow, but I guess I removed it. I basically made a graphic of myself. Uh, Actually, I can load an image file in here because, yeah, I've been going to
you
Midwest Gaming Classic for 21 shows in a row, and I'll be back. And here's the photo:
there it
20 show
is.
streak, 2025, and then this year I proceed to sleepwalk through the whole thing because I did not rest up, and it's the fastest 48 hours, and you don't want to go to bed because there's so much going on and you have very limited time out there. And we've wanted for so long, and I'm about to be joined by the guy who thinks he's the real star of the show, this idiot here.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, Cody has crashed the stream like he
As
usually
cats
does.
are wont to do.
Yeah, they're going to pop in and out. There's another one behind me, which I bought that chair to replace the one I'm sitting in, and now she's taking it over and says, "This is my chair now, and I'm going to sleep in it and leave as much cat hair on it as possible." Anyway,
Yeah, so
anyway,
Midwest Gaming Classic is a good show. I only started going a couple of years ago, but when I started coming, I was like, yeah, all right, I found my people, and plenty of people that I knew through circles online and got to meet for in person when I finally realized, oh, this is a show that everybody in the Midwest goes to.
yes. Your your impressions of Midwest gaming. Anything you saw, anything you did besides run the exhibit catch
It
your
was
eye?
I was just overwhelmed. I'd been for the first time 2 years ago, and I feel like there was, I don't know, 5, 10,000 more people this year than even then, and it was a big show even then. Just so I was just overwhelmed by the turnout. Yeah, what a huge event it's turned into. I was mostly stationed around our exhibition, but I did catch a couple talks. The ones I caught were really good, high quality, I thought. Ethan and I were both at the Eugene Jarvis at Freeze conversation. We also had brought in Jamie Fenton to give a talk because Jamie, of course, was involved with Dave Nutting Associates, hired by Dave Nutting from University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, along with the same time as Tom McHugh, if I recall, from the AI lab there. And so Jamie gave a talk as well. And yeah, so there was good quality presentations, I thought.
I filmed 4 different presentations, which you can, if you want to link them in the show notes or whatever. I did put them up on my second channel.
You do have a channel. Where's that at?
I can provide it to you. Play History is my main channel, and Play History Extras is my channel where I'm putting my other stuff thenceforth. But so I have the Midwest Gaming Classic panels, the 4 that I filmed, which includes the one that I was involved in.
Yeah, you can put that in the chat, and I'll link it up because I don't know if I have it. I have your the cat's causing me a distraction because he's wanting to jump around right now, and it's like, and I have to watch out for him because he has taken a chunk out of my hand while I was sleeping, which is which caused me to miss the Pinball Expo. Yeah.
I did go to that this year. I was invited by a Japanese friend who was coming in, and so I did attend Pinball Expo. That was fun.
This
or last year,
right here.
Yep.
Stephen, dogs are great pets. Just gonna say.
Yeah, but they're more high maintenance. That's the problem. And I'd have to find a babysitter every time I went anywhere, especially when I went up to Goblin Ghost Arcade for the weekend. It's like I had to find a babysitter or a kennel for them. Yeah, these guys can take care of themselves, although the one behind me has to get medication on a daily basis, unfortunately. So, anyway.
So that's what you get for all the tender loving care that you show the cat is a bite out of your hand. Very ungrateful.
Well, he's a ginger, so he should be really grateful because he got rescued from a tree. That's how I got him.
Oh,
but
man.
Anyway, tell us about the exhibit you put forth. I mean, David Nutting, what all was included in it, and what games kind of came out of his, I guess, dojo, lack of a better word.
So Dave Nutting, he was this he was based in the Milwaukee area, not originally from there, from Illinois. He was the brother of somebody people might know if they've looked at game history before, of Bill Nutting, who ran Nutting Associates, which put out Computer Space, the first commercial video game created by Ted Dabney and Nolan Bushnell before Atari. So they were brothers. They had kind of a complicated relationship. Not going to go into it, but their both initial products were quiz games, which basically use little film reels like physical film reels that ran, and they would show you a question, and if you answered in quick enough time, you got more points. And these were things that you could find at airports and bowling alleys and stuff like that. So that was put out under Dave Nutting's company was Nutting Industries, and his brother Bill's company was Nutting Associates. Dave also created a couple electromechanical games. Again, before video, there was moving parts and all this stuff, including Red Baron and Airball and The Safe, under his company, Milwaukee Coin Industries, which was opened after Nutting Industries. And after that, for other complicated reasons, we can go into things if we want, but just to sum up, he started another company with a guy named Jeff Fredrickson to create Dave Nutting Associates, which was a company that was only going to develop games, not release them. So a lot of the games that were released under Midway in the 1970s were created by Dave Nutting Associates, including Gunfight, which is a very important game in the history of games, Seawolf, and 280 Zap, and Amazing Maze, and Wizard of War, and Gorf.
Now, Wizard of War, and I see that running on that Defender cab in the background.
Good
Uh,
observation. Yes.
I don't know how many years ago it was now. It's probably at least 6, 7 years now. Well, certainly before the COVID pandemic, so maybe 8. Boy, he just tried to bite me, and he's going to have to go. Told you I had to watch him. So a cabaret showed up on Craigslist, and it was called Invisible Monsters. I'm not quite remembering who put it up for sale, but it was in the Chicago area. Galvin Ghost tried to get it. However, they were, I guess, second or third in line, as somebody from nearby Jacksonville, which is where I grew up, got first dibs and brought it over to Jacksonville, or brought it home, because he has a collection of arcade games and pinballs. So he had the game. Nobody knew that there was a prototype of Wizard of War. I got to go over there and play it, try it out, just examine I guess whatever was on the surface that I could see. And I'm trying to pull up the video now to have that running in the background. Because then it should have had that ready to go before I even started this thing.
So, like, the thing about arcade prototypes is that normally what this would be is that the company was working on a game and they wanted to see if it was going to take in coins. So they would get it to a working state, and then they would go to a local arcade that they were partnered with and put a unit of unfinished. So they'd have a prototype name and whatever the game was inside, and see how many people played it. And they would put it right up against the popular games of the time. Because if it had enough draw to take people away from the popular games, they would know that it would do well when they finally finished it. So that's what this presumably is.
And I also noticed this game from this state here had a lot of things changed with it. The maze was much bigger. The monsters' characters were much smaller. Voice synthesis was added, so you had voice samples. So a lot of changes went through this game before we got to the final product.
Yeah, and likely that was a lot to do with the hardware that this is running off of, because what Wizard of War and Gorf run off of is a derivative of the Bally Professional Arcade hardware, which Dave Nutting Associates created and was released by Bally, which was the parent company of Midway. Many complicated corporate machinations in there. But yeah, so it's pretty minor changes on the whole in terms of how it actually alters the gameplay, but there's a lot of aesthetic things that are very likely because they weren't sure what they could do at the time, because they were using somewhat outdated console hardware.
Well, also presumably they would have used the feedback loop of the actual on-site test in the arcade, based on the way that users were playing and interacting with the game and what they were responding to alter the game in the weeks following before its release and rebrand.
Also known, so the hardware was also known as the Bally Astrocade, which is
Well,
hardware.
here's the complicated thing. So
Don't
it
get
was
Ethan started on this.
it was never actually called the Bally Astrocade. Astrocade is the company that bought the rights to it. They continued to call it the Bally Professional Arcade. They later rebranded it as the Astrocade, but it was never the Bally Astrocade. That's how it is on Wikipedia, but it was never officially called that.
Did not know that. I just always knew it as the Astrocade, but
we did have a working Bally Professional Arcade on site, which incidentally is a donation from Jamie Fenton. And we were exhibiting Gunfight, not in the arcade form, but in the Bally Professional Arcade version, which people had a ball with. They had a great time, and it's almost like the haptics were designed, the controllers designed almost specifically for Gunfight.
So I did ask you, Dave Nutting. I think you told me that he is no longer with us, and the person who may have made this is also no longer with us. But
so there's three. There's three principal people who worked on Wizard of War, and very presumably the Invisible Monsters. I'll tell you what we know about this game. So the basic premise of this game is based on the movie Alien. The idea of the things, the monsters vanishing out of sight when you can't see them, that comes from the radar screen in the original Alien. So that was kind of the basic premise they were going. It's not 100% clear how they got from the science fiction theme to a wizard science fiction theme. So it might be Dungeons and Dragons related. It's kind of unclear. So
when did Alien come out?
What was that?
When did the Alien movie come out?
1979, and this game is from 1981.
Okay. I didn't know Alien was created that far back, because I know Star Wars was, but
only a couple years after. But so the most game designs at Dave Nutting Associates were Dave Nutting. He had experience through the electromechanical stuff, and this is how he got involved with the company. He would come up with ideas, and then because he wasn't a computer person, he would give that to computer people to do. So the principal programmer on this was Tom McHugh. He was a University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin graduate who had been working in the robotics AI lab, the RAIL, who Jeff Fredrickson, who I mentioned was the co-founder of Dave Nutting Associates, had a connection with. So he went to RAIL and got Tom McHugh, another person, and then eventually Jamie Fenton. Again, there's complicated layers here, but Tom McHugh was the first guy in. He created the game Gunfight, which is one of the first games in the arcade that actually used a microprocessor instead of just a whole bunch of chips. And he made a ton of the hits that Midway had throughout the 1970s. Then in 1977, Bally bought Dave Nutting Associates. And they decided they were going to move down to Arlington Heights, Illinois. So it goes out of Milwaukee. But Tom McHugh did not want to move. He had no interest in going down to the Chicago area. So he decided to remote work. Back in the 1970s, he would basically program everything in his house, and then Dave would drive up and get a disc and drive back down. So they would have, they would converse over the phone to figure out how to design this game.
Teleworking is what it was known as.
There we go.
I hate work from home or telecommuting, but it didn't work out for me. But it certainly got more popular.
Right. So Dave was communicating with Tom about the design. There's another guy who was kind of a junior programmer and designer at Dave Nutting Associates named Bob Ogden. He was primarily working on the stuff for the Bally Professional Arcade, the console, but he would have discussions with Dave Nutting. And according to him, it's a little unclear exactly. He was coming up with a lot of the ideas for what would become Wizard of War. So supposedly Bob Ogden and Dave Nutting were talking. Then Dave Nutting would synthesize what they were doing, and he would tell Tom McHugh, "This is what we need." So the story that Tom McHugh told me, as I did interview him before he died, is that for the final version of Wizard of War, he was supposed to give it off to Dave, but there was a huge snowstorm in Milwaukee at the time. So he was like, well, I guess he can't come up this time. But Dave, in his very sporty automobile, decided to just go through the snowstorm, rampage through the blizzard. I've done that myself in Minnesota, and just go all the way up to where Tom McHugh was living, grab the disc, go back down. And that was the last major contribution that Tom McHugh had to Dave Nutting Associates. He did some home stuff for them afterwards.
I will say, I was forced to drive home from the Midwest Gaming Classic in a blizzard and not make it home. Ended up being about, 40 miles away from home and having to stay in a hotel as more than a foot of snow had piled up on the interstate. And it was like, and I probably should have stayed in Milwaukee another night.
For all those who don't know, the Midwest does get snowy.
Well, we also get all 4 seasons within a span of a week, too. So there's that. I will note that the Invisible Monsters cabinet is currently sitting at the Strong Museum of Play in New York. That's the owner of the Jacksonville owner had to let it go because he had to pay some significant bills, and although he regrets selling it.
Well, it's a good place for it to be. Although selfishly, I wish that the Galloping Ghost had been able to acquire it. That place is a national treasure, and would be nice to add that to their very expansive collection of games.
Well, they only have so much room, and even though it's a cabaret, although it would have been fine for them to acquire it 8 years ago or however long it's been.
Yeah, one of the things about the Galloping Ghost is that they're very good about putting the manufacturers side by side and stuff. So there is a section, it's got all the Midway stuff, and that includes Pac-Man and such. But they do basically have a Wizard of War and a Gorf, and so you can kind of experience a little bit of the history in chronological order.
Yeah, they finally got all the Ricola games together. They've had to do some rearrangements quite a number of times, and it's like every few months I have to, where I think a game is, it got moved somewhere else, or maybe it's off the floor, and is a large maze to navigate.
Yes, we worked directly with the Galloping Ghost for one of our exhibits that we did a few years ago as well.
Okay. So back to the 401 gaming history. How did each of you get into gaming?
My background is I grew up PC gaming. My parents wouldn't let me have a console, so I didn't have an Atari or a Nintendo, but a computer was educational. And so I was able to, on my IBM PS2 in the late 80s, play a bunch of these arcade knockoffs, traded on floppy disks through my dad's work and whatnot. But really it was the Sierra games that really captivated me and drew me into the world of video games. The King's Quest series, the Thexter, Mixed Up Mother Goose, those were some of the earliest games that I played, and just fell in love with the adventure gaming genre.
What was the first game you ever touched?
It'd have to be. This was when I was in California. We moved around a little bit growing up. It was one of those classic stories. I think Tim Lapatino has the same one that we both connected about when we were organizing the Pac-Man History and Design exhibition, which is Pizza Hut Pac-Man, playing Ms. Pac-Man for the first time at a Pizza Hut in California was mine.
All right, Ethan.
For me, I'm a born and bred gamer, as they might say. Just been surrounded by it all my life. My parents were kind enough to let me go on both sides of things. My dad was a PC gamer. He liked, yeah, I'm pretty sure he played like flight simulators and things. Didn't really play that with him, but I played a lot of Diablo 2 with him when I was a wee lad. So, maybe not the best game appropriate for the age, but it was a dang good game. I can tell you that much. Um, and I also had an N64, so grew up with that influence in my life. I've had a a broad range of experiences as such. As far as I know, well, I don't remember this. Everything before age 5, I don't remember. But they said the first game that I played was a version of Reader Rabbit on the PC.
An educational game.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
They made a couple good ones, including the Oregon Trail.
Oh, okay. So, how did the museum, the formation of Chicago Gamespace, and how did this museum come about?
That's all, Jonathan.
Right. Yeah. So most of my professional career has been working for art museums, yet have also been a lifelong gamer and also a game collector, and needed a place to keep all my games. And at the time, had an Airbnb space that I run with my wife, and we I decided in the depths of COVID that would kind of like exhibit those games on site, carve out part of the space to be demarcated to keep the lights on through an Airbnb revenue model, and the other portion of the space. I thought it was high time there should be a museum for video games. And of course, these exist. There's the Strong you already mentioned, and the National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas, and
Yep.
One in Sheffield, England, a few others scattered across the US. But in Chicago, while we have wonderful arcades, we don't have the kind of didactic, educational dimension to these game places. And so that was the Chicago Gamespace was born of the interest in having something local, a museum for games here in Chicago, for those who didn't want to travel to Rochester or Texas to see the game holdings. And while Gamespace is small, it's mighty. And not only do we have a rigorous collection of games on site, but we're increasingly doing these exhibitions at conventions and fairs and partnering museums where we can really expand our reach and audience.
So, what all have you featured at the museums thus far? I know the website has quite a bit of the information on past exhibits.
Some of the notable ones worthy of mention, I think most recently, the biggest one we did was Insert Coin, which was done in partnership with Josh Sway, based on the documentary that Josh put together about Midway's arcade history, and of course, Williams and Valley Midway as part of that story. And it was really, the thing I loved about the Insert Coin documentary is that, it captured direct, from the creators of the game, anecdotes, from the makers of these games themselves. And it was also like the story arches were just really compelling and accurate and true to life, and it was clearly created with love by an insider. The only problem was you couldn't play the games, and so I said to Josh, hey, let's do a 3D version of Insert Coin. And Key and I and Ethan and Justin Whitty, who's the director of the Cleve Carney Museum, worked on this exhibition, and we did exactly that. We told the story of Insert Coin in an exhibition format.
Yes, a huge, like, not at Chicago Gamespace. This was at the College of DuPage. A huge space dedicated to highlighting just a couple games, some original, art and stuff that we got donated by the developers. The opening night, we had tons of the people who had worked on these games come in, including, Ed Boon of Mortal Kombat fame, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience that I will certainly never forget.
I think I did watch this film at some point. I think it's online. YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, he made it free available after a while, after he had done his all his Blu-ray sales.
I know I've been trying to get in a gaming documentary of some sort. Looks like Ghost Lore and the Quest for Dark Presence is going to be my debut in a gaming documentary movie, but we'll see.
I helped with the fundraising for that. I did we got a question. Oh, is there something that you could put up for auction? And I had a couple original flyers from a developer that I had talked to, so I put those up on the auction block when they were doing the fundraising for that film.
Yes, and just counting the weeks. I don't know when it's going to be done, but hopefully this year.
I backed the Kickstarter. So happy to support it.
Yeah, although it's always 6 months away, but is the clock running on that 6 months? Apparently not. Ugh. Anyway, jeez. So when you opened for, you see it for the first time during COVID, or kind of the back end of it when everything was opening up again, the arcades were open, Gum and Ghost was opening up. I was making regular trips up there every couple of weeks because there was nothing else to do around here. And doing everything wrong that should have put me in a ICU bed face down on an oxygen tank over and over and over. But I stayed relatively
You live and learn.
Yes, I stayed relatively healthy throughout. But anyway, so what was the experience? What was the experience? How did it go down when you had your grand opening?
It was not so grand, the opening. It was, it was a little quiet. But that said, people were really hungry and excited for things to do. And we've never had any shortage of press. We've always been very fortunate to be featured on local news. Fox 32 came out, WGN came out, not for the original Cyberpunk 2077 exhibition that kind of was the first kickoff exhibition at Gamespace, but for the Nom Nom history and design of Pac-Man on the occasion of its 40th anniversary, which we launched in that winter, February of 21. Yes. And that was a blast. Like, it was one of those super popular instant hit exhibitions, and nothing else was open. So people were booking tickets, and this was something that I was doing in my spare time. And I turned to Tim and I was like, we're gonna need a bigger boat. And Ethan was one of our first visitors for that exhibition. And
I can explain a little bit. This is how I get involved with this. So Tim Lapatino was co-authoring this book, Pac-Man: Birth of an Icon. He sent me the nice big full edition, which was nice
I have
of
it
him.
too.
Yes. So cooking
Ellie.
back. So I'd known Tim. He had done Art of Atari,
Mhm.
which and now he works at Atari. So as these things go. Um, and I just said, "Oh, I've done some research into this stuff. I can hook you up with some information, some people that you might not know to have talked to." And so I'd been helping with the book for a bit, and he said, "Oh, there's this museum opening up that I'm collaborating with." Then it was Chicago Gamespace, and as it turns out, I live about 3 blocks away from Chicago Gamespace. So it just happened to work out. And I just kept coming in because, like you, I was very bored. There was not much going on. So I kept bothering Jonathan. And then eventually he was like, hey, you live close by here. We need someone to watch the place. Why don't you watch the place? And then after there, it grew into me being the assistant curator.
Ah. Have you been to any of the other gaming museums around the country? I assume you have.
Yes, I've been to the Strong. I've been to the National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas. I've been to Sheffield, England. Those are the main video game museums that I know of. There might be others, but yeah, I've been to all three and learned a great deal from each of them. I like them all for different reasons, but I still have opinions on how games should be displayed and how the educational dimension of games should be handled. And I like to think that the Gamespace does a really nice job with presentation for the exhibitions that we do organize.
I have actually not been to any of the video game museums, but that is going to change because at the end of July, I'm going to be presenting at the Strong Museum in Rochester. I'd signed up for a thing, and I was like, it's finally the chance to get over there. And I used to live on the East Coast, so I know upstate New York pretty well.
I've only been to the Video Game Museum down in Frisco, Texas. That was back in 2018. I was glad to be there because I met Gary Kitchen or Dan
Oh yeah,
Kitchen.
nice.
Dan Kitchen was there. And I got my hands on the doggone Keystone Keepers 2 proto. Well, not hands on it, but I got to see it firsthand.
Yeah, they've got a great facility down there, and I know they have their origins in Chicago, and Sean, one of the founding members, still runs Video Games Then and Now, which is a great store who's saved Gamespace's ass many a time with having games that we need. We'll order something on eBay, it won't work or something. Got to go to Video Games Then and Now, and sure enough, they have it. And they've got a great collection. I love the way that they've laid out all the game history. I love the little arcade. I love the recreations of the living rooms from the 70s, from the 80s, from the 90s. They do a really, really wonderful job.
Your game collection. So you have arcade games at the museum. How big of a collection do you have available for play?
The premise is you can play your way through video game history. Mm-hmm. And while we can never beat someone like Doc Galloping Ghost.
Yeah, that's his own. He's his own animal there.
My position is that, given our space, the focus should be on the most important, influential games from all time. So, we start with an emulation of Space War, and then you have an opportunity to play Pong. You play Asteroids, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Defender, and then so on into like consoles and into the 80s and 90s. And then we kind of stop towards the end of the 90s, just to give it a little critical distance, because we don't yet know the games that are going to be considered kind of all-time greats yet of the aughts and the teens, and the 2020s, we have ideas of what those might be. But we feel pretty secure about the game selections that we've made that are available for play at Gamespace.
Um, Now you have what is currently at the museum now? I think you just got through.
Yeah.
Well, this was off site in Michigan, but
Mhm.
you had a plot thickens exhibition in gosh, oh maybe it wasn't in Chicago, but it's
Yeah, it was kind of a combined thing. Jonathan can explain.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a partnership with a university in Michigan,
Hmm.
and it took a very large premise, which is about narrative and storytelling in games, and it was in alignment with the curriculum. Sorry, I can't talk. At West Shore Community College, I organized this in partnership with Eden Unlawada Foley. And so we would feature a number of these individual games as kind of spotlight games that people could come and play at Gamespace. But there was a lot of satellite exhibitions scattered throughout Chicago and across Michigan. They have wonderful partnerships at West Shore College with the library, with local game organizations, and so we were able to have wide variety of games, old and new, available for people to experience. But the next project that we're working on, we've been doing a lot of these fairs and conventions and whatnot. And we do have public hours on June 7th, if anyone wants to come by that afternoon.
I'll be
But
there.
our next big exhibition is going to be at the Fan Expo convention, August 14th through 16th at the Stevens Convention Center. And Fan Expo invited GameSpace to curate a presentation of either in development or recently released video games from Chicago's independent game development scene. And so we'll have some wonderful games, including some that we've exhibited in the past, such as Animal Well by Billy Basso. William Cheer Studio just released the amazing VR game Hotel Infinity recently. That'll be on exhibition. Keisha Howard's Mindfo is going to be there. Several other studios in town are involved in participating. So hopefully people will be able to come out and give those games a spin.
Starts Friday. Oh,
go ahead.
let me note the date. Friday, August 14th, which is a day after Gum and Ghost's anniversary. So I will be up there. Looks like I'll have to make a jog over to Rosemont. Where I don't know how far that is from Brookfield. Oops. I forgot to take that down. Darn it, before I clicked away. Darn it. I was going to look it up on maps. Anyway.
It's depending on traffic, it's anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour, 15 minutes, depending. Yeah, Friday traffic anywhere in the Chicago area is just gridlock. So,
it's right by the airport.
Yeah, right by O'Hare.
So I'd have to just go up Route 45 all the way. I'm not gonna take the doggone toll road, that's for sure.
So to answer the question as before, so I can tell you exactly what the games are in there because I'm the guy on site. So
yes,
we have the Space War game, we have Space Invaders, Asteroids, Defender. So that's the initial section. That's kind of like our space themed 70s sort of thing, even though Defender is technically 1980. Then we go into kind of like the character based games. We have Donkey Kong, Frogger, Pac-Man, Joust. Then we get into some of the more advanced games of the 80s. We have Pole Position and Star Wars, the Vector arcade game. Then into the later 80s, we have Narc and what was that other one? Now I'm blanking, but I know we also have
and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, more NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat 2 as representatives of the 90s. We have our console setup for an original Nintendo Entertainment System and a mini classic Genesis. Then we have the mid 90s kind of explosion with Street Fighter 2 and Cruisin' USA. I was about to say Daytona, but we do not have a giant Daytona in in our tiny little game space. And then we have a section that is most of the stuff you're going to see on the site is going to be, it's like a special feature game. So that's a lot of what we were doing with the Plot Thickens. We had stuff like Zork and King's Quest and Return of the Obra Dinn. Those were our feature games that we put up as kind of like the feature spot, because we used to do it where we would theme an entire museum around something. That's what we did with Tron. That's what we did with Qbert. But you know, time and space constraints, we just have a special feature every now and then.
Guess who's in the chat? Todd Tuckey.
Ah, yes, your videos are extremely useful. Thank you so much, Todd. I admire your exuberance.
He says thanks. All right. Future goals, expansion, or what are you looking to bring in later this year?
Yes, expansion is one hope, certainly. We are actually in the midst of incorporating as a not-for-profit at the moment. Currently, we're operating as an LLC, but the focus is not revenue. The focus is on game history and education, and so we have. Even though nonprofits require a little bit more TLC and work and meetings and board involvement, it is the best form for us moving forward. And so the founding board includes, I've already mentioned Tim Lapatino, and he was there from the beginning of Gamespace as well. Also included is Jim Zespi from Logan Arcade and Keisha Howard from Sugar Gamers. So it's a great group of people from the Chicago video game scene who are coming together to support the growth and expansion of Chicago Gamespace.
Anything to add, Ethan?
I mean, it would be nice to have more space. that is certainly a thing.
Yeah.
We have had to do a lot of different rearrangements of things. Those photos are so outdated. If you go on our social medias, you'll see how the space looks now. I mean, we've packed games in there. There is games for you to play, but we still have some games that we can't put on the floor because they're too big. Once we got that NBA Jam in, there was no room for anything else. It was a giant piece that I had to, like, I oversaw when we brought it back. We had to take off the control panel because we couldn't fit it through the door. Like this. So this is the kind of limitations that we're working with, but it's a good space, and we do parties as well, and kids love it. Kids love it.
This was the display at the Midwest Gaming Classic, and I see this pinball machine here, and to the left out of the shot is a Seawolf. Let's see. Let me get the photos up here because here we go.
Yes,
This is
there you go.
Shot with all the photos of the.
Yeah, I sourced all those photos because I have access to the old coin-op trade publications. Mm-hmm. So I delved into there to find what we could of, all these people that were, important in these old games that we were trying to do a little spotlight on, even if we couldn't have a lot of the games with us. So there's the Seawolf. There's the Bally Professional Arcade running Gunfight, and then that's the home version of Fireball, which does not play anything like the classic version of Fireball, but it was the programming was done by Dave Nutting Associates. That's why that's there.
Yeah, and one came up for auction. I could have bid on it, but I didn't. Looks like there's several different photos here. Oh,
Yeah, that starts going into that's one of the other exhibits that Jonathan did or before. Where was that, Jonathan?
Well, this photo right here currently is from the Game Developers Conference.
Okay.
This is where the Giants play in San Francisco, and so we were able to hand out T-shirts and hats, and Gamespace hats and whatnot. And we look forward to being involved with GDC next year as well. Already in talks with them about doing something, which we hope to be able to announce, next year. But you may be talking about, Ethan, if that image popped up of Uncover the Smoking Gun, which is a very recent game made by a studio in South Korea, Relu Games, which what in my experience is one of the earliest and best uses of AI in games. Mostly in games, whenever we're having conversations with characters, there's a dialogue tree that drops down and you select A, B, or C, but in this instance, you literally are just conversing directly with an AI informed character who has a limited memory and knows their role in the game. And I don't know, I think it's an exciting future to think about in games, that so much more dimensionality is going to go into these characters. They're going to feel very real.
how good of a gamer are each of you? Do you score chase? Do you participate in any of the competitions, or just pretty much casual playing?
I've never been any good at like truly competitive stuff, no matter what I've tried. I mean, I do decent on the games that we have at the museum, because it's just like if somebody wants me to show them something, I should be able to show them something. So I can, and I was very good at Donkey Kong, because on Donkey Kong 64, they made you play Donkey Kong, the original. So I had to learn how to get good at it, even when I didn't have an arcade cabinet. Generally, I'm a mechanics person, as I like to kind of put myself. So I don't like games that you can just breeze through. I want to have a little bit of attrition, but I'm not the kind of guy who's going to do a no-hit runs on Dark Souls.
Yeah, that I don't know if anybody who can, but
Yes, I'm of a certain age where my reflexes aren't quite what they used to. You give me a Sierra game, I can do, I can get through a King's Quest or an Ultima 6 or a Prince of Persia, like no problem. But yeah, in terms of arcade games, no, I choose to admire those who do have skills. Like when we organized the Light Cycles History and Design of Tron in Film and Games exhibition, in partnership with Tim Lapatino a couple of years ago. I did fly in David Cruz, who is the high score holder for Tron, and that requires 48 hours to beat. So we didn't put him on the spot, but I did watch him in action playing Tron, and have so much respect and admiration for people of that skill level.
what did you think of the very recent Tron movie, since you mentioned it?
I had a great time. I think if you're into the Tron universe and lore, it's a great ride. I don't know. It was a ton of fun. I know it hasn't. It's been panned a little bit, in the critical press, but I hope it's successful enough that Disney chooses to continue the franchise.
First and the second movie, yes, I did enjoy each those. I haven't seen the ones since then, though. What else was there? I think that's gosh. Anything else that you want to cover before we kind of wrap it up?
How about you? Are you are you a high score holder, or like are you still gaming competitively?
I'm still gaming competitively, and I'm the 2021 Goblin Ghost Gamer of the Year. So
Woo.
I kind of missed. I didn't really participate in the competitive scoring scene back then because there was not really an easy way to submit scores back then. Yet I see people were submitting videotapes, but you also had to have film cameras that would take a picture of a TV screen without that refresh bar blacking the whole thing out, which I had to, and then take it to the daggum film developer to develop the film. So you don't know if your score was actually captured. And then if it wasn't, it's like not legible, then you had to go do the achievement again. It's like it was too much of a hassle, which is why I'm happy Galpin Ghost has arcade.com and I can take a video camera, set in front of the machine, and then record my gameplay, hand it over to the guy at the front counter, and then they can get that verified.
I believe you.
Well,
I've
that's
heard
how
some
it
of the
goes
stuff
for me
from.
anyway. That's how. But
Yeah, I've heard about some of that stuff from the like speedrunners would have to do that in submissions. You know, there's it's like the internet has made things easier.
yes, and
Yeah.
plus, I'm streaming here on Twitch, and there is an online arcade tournament ongoing, which I'm going to mention in announcements at the tail end of this that I'm participating in now, and I'm streaming my runs on Twitch. So if there's any question about my play, they can go look at the video for up to 2 weeks. So,
Well, you need to come to Gamespace and log some high scores on some of our games. I think you'll be able
We
to hold a few
are you
records.
tracking scores at your place?
I mean, I do keep out a whiteboard that we do, then I photograph it and such. At one time, the most exciting high score that we had is when we did our Cubert show. Eugene Jarvis of Raw Thrills came down, designer of Defender, and he got the top score on Defender. So for a bit, we had an authentic Eugene Jarvis top score.
All right.
Then the battery reset, and then
Very well. You got to take a picture and record the video. I don't know. Anyway,
I got a picture of him.
all right. The website, in which I should have had a banner typed up.
It's simple. We just point to what's on our names right there. ChicagoGamespace.com. Chicago
Gamespace.com. Add banner. Show it on the screen. There we go. There it is. And that Chicago Gamespace also works for Facebook. Just drop the .com and YouTube as well, I believe. I will check out the Play History channel extras because when I go to Midwest Gaming, I can't really go into the seminars because there's so much doggone happening. It's like,
yeah, you have to split your time. I mean, I barely had time enough to play games when I was.
And I spent an hour walking around the whole thing with a 360 camera to record everything, including your exhibits. So,
yeah, I mean, it's helpful stuff. It's documentation, it's preservation of the gaming experience as it existed at the time. So I've always come in with a camera. I'm not being meticulous about it or anything, but like that, these sorts of events, the energy. If you can't make it, you should watch those videos.
And the museum is located at 2418 West Bloomingdale Avenue in Chicago, which is off. It's in the Wicker Park area.
Off Western Avenue, right by the 606 elevated walkway.
So right off the Blue Line Western stop.
So go in on North Avenue, then make the turn on Western for a couple of blocks, and then you're up to Bloomington, and you're about there. If you're looking for a state route to get you there. Gosh, from Galloping Ghost Arcade, I'd have to kind of snake up.
It's quite away from over there.
Oh,
No.
don't care for driving in the Chicago downtown area. It's like scary.
Though if you happen to be in Brookfield via train, the train will take you up to stop at Western, and then you can go north.
Okay. I've never taken the train up to Brookfield. I've taken the train up to Chicago, but that was on a business trip, so I don't know. Anyway, um, Ethan and Jonathan. Oh, I should ask this. Galvin Ghost is going to unveil Game 1100 on the arcade floor in mid-July. What do you think it should be?
Let's see, Fabulous Last arcade game. Yeah, I'm trying to crawl through my memories. Marble Madness 2, definitely.
They have it.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, there's not as many lost arcade games that aren't like super obscure ones that only I know about. So it's like, what else could it be? They already got the R360, so yeah, like they got everything.
Skyscraper.
Oh,
have
Skyscraper. Yeah.
Invisible Monsters. Sadly, that ship has sailed, but
Yeah.
maybe there's another one out there.
All right.
Could be.
Or maybe there's I know Anna Anthropy, the indie game developer, made kind of a game based on Wizard of War called Lesbian Spider Queens of Mars. So maybe that's going to be an arcade.
What?
Yeah.
Is that real? Where is this?
It's a flash game. It's a flash game, so it might be gone, but it involves consensual bondage and slavery also. But
it's X-rated, and I can't show that here. So
well, yeah,
you can look it up on your own time.
I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I should dare, but anyway. Jonathan and Ethan, thank you both for coming into the Crimeycade tonight, and maybe I'll see you at the Galvin Ghost sometime in the future.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love to see you there.
All right.
Memorial Day weekend and Combo Breaker are coming up, so
okay,
there's chances to maybe cross paths.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having us on.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Good night.
Bye.
Oh, look at this. If we go to Chicago for the VGA show, I'll be swinging by Galvin Ghost. All right.
Woo.
Nice.
All right. Todd, Ducky, well, I hope you see you there. Guys, have a good night.
Good night.
All right. Before we get out of here, I've got to throw the slideshow back up because I kind of messed it up a while ago. Let's see if I could get. I got to pull this thing back up. Here we go. Let's see if I get that. There we go. All right. Scores. Score rundown, and a bunch of these came in today. Jeff Lucas takes the new house high on Asterix with breaking 56,000. That was a Andrew score that he took. Pete Hahn, two-time former Game of the Year, takes the world record on X-Men Children of the Atom, breaking the 2 million mark. Andrew Owasco continues to raise his scores on Pioneer Balloon, breaking an even 560K. Perella, 117,000 on that. That was a score I had for one day, and I'm going to have to see if I can progress past the level 4 boss. He also increased Cowboys of Moon Mesa slightly, 23,650. Incidentally, Cowboys of Moon Mesa, the cartoon series, is going to be revived later this year. It was a CBS Saturday morning cartoon a year or two back in the 90s. Well, they're going to revive the cartoon series anew in 2026. surprisingly. So look forward to that. Maybe they'll do a new arcade game like they did with another version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Also, Brian Wiesberg gets the initial high score on Super Dodgeball for the Neo Geo, and Matthew Avery continues to improve the Daytona USA fastest race, getting under the 2-minute 15-second mark. And we're now down to the final 3 months of the 17th season of the Galloping Ghost Arcade. And, well, the order of players in here pretty much staying the same. But, and the battle for tokens, token count continues to go up, although nobody has changed positions. But Gamer of the Year odds, as of right now, it's a 3-man race. Andrew, Mossies, and Claudio. These 3 guys are leading the pack. And I kind of evened out the odds for winning Gamer of the Year. So in these last 3 months, they've got to floor it. No rest for the weary. If they want the Gamer of the Year award, and Andrew's had it twice, Mossies has been there since opening, practically. He's never won Gamer of the Year. He's always in the top 5 in the power rankings. He's never won it. The closest he came was when Jamie Tibbetts just beat him out for that award. And Mossies has stated he thinks he can never win Gamer of the Year. Well, never say never, because this is your best chance to win Gamer of the Year since 2018 or whatever year it was. I'm losing track of the years here because God. I think it was 2018. I forgot. I'm sorry. No, and I thought Andrew won. And I thought confusion as to who won what year. But anyway, Claudio, who's the gamer closest to where I live, over in Chatham, has completed 8 levels of challenge cards. He's now on level 9. And he completed my level 4 card earlier this week. So, Claudio's in the mix. He's not in the top 20, but he could win Gamer of the Year based on being how many challenge cards levels he's crossed. So, anyway, these 3 guys are all on level 8. Claudio is now the first one to level 9, but he's not gotten his card yet. So we'll see how this shakes out. Arcade Wars Game of the Month is Airbuster. And Galloping Ghost does have that. It's pretty early. One Up Arcade is now fully qualified. But Airbuster is also a part of the MAME Gaming League 67th season that was just announced as the latest game, along with Deis Pro Tennis, which I absolutely do not care for this game at all. And of course, I got to mention, will Beezer reach the Galloping Ghost arcade floor? I do not believe it's going to be game 1100, but Airbuster is in the mix, so going to be killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. I'll be playing that game at the arcade and at home. Sidearms is about to close, by the way. And the question continues to rage. Will there be a T20 tournament this year, or will there be something else? No idea what they're planning. Combo Breaker is in, about a week away now at the Schaumburg Convention Center. Memorial Day weekend starting Friday the 22nd, running through the 24th. I shall be there to see the battles rage, as well as play some of the games that they bring out there to the convention. But I can't hang with those fighting game players, so I have to enter the Tekken Tag Tournament at Gamespace Arcade for the Blade Wars Tournament. That will be on Saturday, May 31st at 3 o'clock. Illinois Game Con in Bloomington, Illinois on June the 6th at the Interstate Center. Chorus Con in Columbus, Ohio, June 6th and 7th in Columbus, Ohio, also that weekend. Missouri Game Con 10 will be July 25th at the Greensfelder Recreational Complex in Manchester, Missouri. And who's my guest next week? Well, this is still going on. Billy Mitchell versus Carl Jobst, round 2. With Carl coming to America, or at least sending his surrogates to America to sue Billy. Well, why do I bring this up? My guest next week will be Randy Martin. He is an actor, writer, comedian, gamer. He is also a Billy Mitchell impersonator. He is on card 3342. He will be the guest on the Crimeycade next week. Just signed him as of a couple hours before the podcast began. I have been needing to get aggressive on getting my guest booked because, last Saturday was just a day of Hades, dealing with the wrestling show and then making a quick drive over to Jacksonville for my 35-year high school class reunion. So now that I'm past the weekend of hell, I can focus on the Crimeycade again fully and chasing scores. So that will do it for the Crimeycade this week. I will be rating the channel, so let's see who am I going to rate tonight. I made this go a little later. Turn this one down. I want to thank everybody who has come in. Please shout out the names who are still in the chat. Hater Shack is here. Get Cogs. Stupendous Man. You heard what I said, Stupendous Man. You gotta floor it. If you want to win Gamer of the Year, you've got to floor it. And Pancreas, thank you for joining me here tonight, as well as you folks who stopped by earlier. So I'm gonna give the raid. Now I'll go back to Rutherford. They're playing 7 Ways to Die tonight. So, until next time, I'm Stephen Lucas with Crimeycade. Good night, everybody.